Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're into astrophotography, astronomy, or just love staring up at the night sky, you're in the right place. Today, I'm trying out something a little different, remote astrophotography. Now, when I say remote astrophotography, I'm talking about using an online platform to access professional grade telescopes located in some of the best stargazing spots around the world. Specifically, I'll be using a service called Telescopelive. But here's the big question. Is this cheating? After all, you're not physically setting up your telescope or capturing the data yourself. It takes away the hands-on experience of dealing with equipment, weather, and all the challenges that come with traditional astrophotography. At the same time, it gives you access to telescopes and skies that most of us could never afford or reach. So, is there a good reason to do this? And is it better for beginners or experienced astrophotographers? I'm excited to try this out and share my thoughts with you on all of these questions. So, let's go. Telescope Live is an online platform that gives you access to professional grade telescopes located in amazing locations around the world, places with really dark skies and minimal light pollution. Here's how it works. You can log in, select a target such as a nebula, a galaxy, or a star cluster, and either configure a telescope setting yourself or use pre-configured options. Once a telescope captures the data, you can download the raw files and process them to create your final image. The advantages are pretty clear. You don't need to own expensive astrophotography equipment. You get to access dark skies and advanced telescopes without leaving your home. And it's super convenient for people who don't have the time, the resources, or local conditions to do traditional astrophotography. Of course, there's a cost involved in all this. Telescope Live operates on a subscription model, and depending on how much data you want to capture, it can get pricey. But when you compare it to the cost of buying your own telescope, mount, and camera, it's still a fraction of the price. For example, I just checked one of the telescopes that I started using on Telescope Live would cost me $68,500 to buy. And that's just the telescope. There's also the camera and the dark sky that it's under as well. There's a lot to consider here. All right, let's dive in and try out Telescope Live. One of the things I love about this platform is how beginner friendly it is. Thanks to features like the one-click observations and bundles. With one-click observations, you don't have to worry about configuring telescope settings or planning your session. Telescope Live has pre-captured data for some of the most stunning deep sky objects, such as the Orion Nebula, the Andromeda Galaxy, and so on. All you have to do is to select the object you're interested in, and you can instantly download high-quality raw data to be processed on your own. I'll explain how to do that in a moment. For this video, I've chosen a one-click observation of the Horsehead Nebula in wide field. It's such an iconic deep sky object, and I'm excited to see what I can do with this data. Another great feature that you can find on Telescope Live is the bundles. These are curated sets of data for specific objects, often captured with different filters, such as LRGB or SHO or narrowband. Bundles are perfect if you want to experiment with advanced processing techniques or create highly detailed images. Basically, the bundles are a collection of all the one-click observations that are available for a certain telescope image. Here's the raw data that I received from the one-click observation and the bundle. I'm going to process this in Cyril and Photoshop, and I'll show you my final image after I finish the processing. Look at the detail in the Horsehead Nebula. It's incredible to think that this was all captured by a professional telescope thousands of miles away. One thing that absolutely blows my mind is the equipment and locations. that are used to take these images. Let's take a look at some of the telescopes and cameras that we can access for observations or we can use to download images. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, shall we? Is remote astrophotography cheating? On the one hand, you're not physically setting up the telescope, aligning it, or dealing with the challenges of weather, light pollution, or equipment. That hands-on experience is a big part of what makes traditional astrophotography so rewarding. And I must admit, I really do feel this too. But on the other hand, you still have to process the data, which is a significant part of astrophotography. And platforms like telescopelive make high quality equipment and dark skies accessible to people who might not otherwise have the opportunity. For example, if I've got grey skies, which quite often happens, or too much wind, I can still go ahead and use telescopelive. Personally, I don't think it's cheating, but I will admit I feel a little bit guilty. There's just something nagging me inside. However, there's something special about using your own equipment and capturing the data yourself in your own backyard under the stars. That said, I can absolutely see the value of remote astrophotography, especially for beginners or people who don't have access to good skies or can't afford suitable equipment. Now let's talk about remote astrophotography and whether it's actually better for beginners or experienced users. Who is remote astrophotography for? For beginners, it's a fantastic way to learn about astrophotography techniques such as processing and stacking without the steep upfront costs of buying your own expensive equipment. It's also a great way to explore deep sky imaging and see if this hobby might be for you. For experienced astrophotographers, it can be a way to access professional grade equipment and capture images of objects that might be out of reach with your own setup. It's also a great option if you're short on time or dealing with poor local conditions. But if you're someone who loves the hands-on experience of setting up your own telescope and troubleshooting in the field, remote astrophotography might feel a little less satisfying. Some final thoughts then. Yeah, I've got a lot of experience actually working with my own equipment. I still use a Celestron 130mm SLT reflector telescope, and it may be a little bit limiting, but my skills have improved to the level where my image quality is much, much better. So what's my verdict then? Is remote astrophotography cheating? I don't think so. It's just a different way to experience the hobby and one that can actually supplement what we already do. For me, there's still nothing quite like using my own equipment and capturing the data for myself. But I can absolutely see the value of platforms like telescopelive, and I would recommend you to give it a try. They make astrophotography more accessible to everybody, and it's a great tool for learning and exploring the night sky. At the end of the day, both approaches have their merits and they can coexist, whether you're a beginner or an experienced astrophotographer. I'd encourage you to try both of them and see what works best for you. All right, that's it for today's video. What do you think? Does remote astrophotography count as real astrophotography or is it cheating? Have you tried telescopelive or a similar platform? And if you have, let me know what you think in the comments below. And finally, just before I go, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any future content from me. Thanks for watching and clear skies.